Hey everyone, time once again for another episode of Day in the Life of Vintage Classic Specialist. So as you can see, we've moved some things around a little bit here. Rafa and I spent probably like an hour and a half this morning. We pretty much took all the cars out of the shop except for the 68 double cab, which is sitting on jack stands and not easily movable. But yeah, we literally had everything else out of here, which was good because that gave us a chance to, sweep the floor real good over here, which it's obviously easier to do when there's no cars there. And we just cleaned up the shop a little bit, especially, this whole area back here. There were just boxes everywhere that had parts in them that were kind of not well organized. We like to stay organized here. When you got this many projects going on, you've got to be organized, and it was getting a bit unorganized. So we took the opportunity to kind of straighten things up a little bit and move things around. So anyway, that's enough of that. But yeah, the buggy, as you can see, is over here now. Thought this was probably a better place to work on it for the time being. So let's talk about what happened on this today. So Rafa today continued bolting the body to the pan. I think he got all the fasteners in along the edges. Still need to put some along the back here. We're actually going to have the owner pick up a few more of those things because we're out. He also went ahead and mounted these brackets that go from the front beam up. So I had to modify them a little bit, not too much. They were actually like a pretty close fit. So the car originally didn't even have those on. The body was just kind of flopping around here on the front. So yeah, we're trying to build it right to the extent possible with these things. I think every one of these is a little different, but yeah, so those brackets went in. And then likewise, these brackets here went in, which also were not in the car, that go from basically the shock tower up to the body here. So these brackets come flat, and then you have to sort of put a twist in them to make up for the angle of the shock tower relative to the body. So Rafa went ahead and put a nice clean twist in those, and then bolted them on to the shock tower there. Went ahead and mounted these two. These are for the bumper cage mounting, obviously. So yeah, lots of little details like that coming together. I think that's kind of what happened on this one today. It doesn't sound like a lot when you just kind of say it out loud, but it's actually a lot of work on these things just to get them bolted up and get things lined up. And again, you got to kind of tweak these brackets and these ones back here to get them to fit right. So yeah, it's actually a lot of work. So that is what Rafa did on this car today. So what I did for most of the day is work on the bus, which is possessed by the devil himself, the devil bus. And I actually drove it ever so slightly today. I basically drove it from from over there in the parking lot when we had it out of the shop to into the shop. And the reason I didn't drive it more is the generator light was on, and we had a new rebuilt generator in it and a regulator that we believed to be good, and couldn't get the regulator or the idiot light to go out. And we tried literally every trick under the sun for these things, and we still couldn't get it to go out. We tried, I think, 4 or maybe 5 other regulators, some of which we knew to be good ones. We did the trick with polarizing the generator. We tested the generator by itself. It was putting out plenty of juice without being connected to a regulator, like all that stuff. And just Rafa and I were both at our wits' end with this thing. So finally, I went ahead and pulled the generator out. So Rafa took the generator and the regulator at the end of the day to a guy, and I'm sorry I don't remember the name of the shop. If somebody needs a automotive electrician, we can get you the contact info. But the owner's name is Doug. Not that tells you much. But anyway, so we took it over to Doug's shop, or Rafa took it to Doug's shop, and they're going to try and look at it and see what's going on, because we can't figure this one out. We literally tried everything we knew and talked to some other people, and yeah, everyone's kind of like shrugging their shoulders. So yeah, but you know, with this bus, it's not terribly surprising, because this bus hates us and kind of loves making our lives difficult. And so, you know, even here at or near the very end, it's still doing that. So gotta love that. There we go. See, it just fought me trying to close that lid. Anyway, yeah, so I worked on that way too long today and was about ready to put my head through that brick wall back there. Luckily I didn't, because then I'd have a hole in my wall. So other than that, I couldn't look at that bus anymore. So I worked on this one some, and basically what I did today was I did the wiring for the stereo here. So not a whole lot of wiring involved in it. Basically it's got a ground, needless to say, and then it's got a wire which is always hot, and then a wire that's hot when the key is turned on. And so I got those routed here kind of nicely, and then got them back kind of integrated in with the rest of the wiring here, and then run off to the fuse box, and again kind of tidied stuff up some, and yeah, so it's all in. So I think the wiring on here now is basically done, with the exception of obviously putting the gauge pod in, but then we are going to mount an air conditioning unit in here. So I may just leave the gauge pod out, because once that thing goes in, which sits kind of under here, I'm gonna have to wire that in too, because it's got, you know, fans and so on in it that need power and stuff like that. So I may just stop wiring here until the AC unit goes in, and then when that's in, then I think finally everything's done and the gauge pod will go in at that point. So anyway, that's what I did kind of at the end of the day. And let's see what Jacob did on his car real quick. He went ahead and finished routing his fuel lines. So he's got line you can see there going from the T to the left carb, and then from the T to the right carb. Got those in, and he put in the breastplate there, so you can see it there. Got fingerprints and stuff all over it, so once it's cleaned up, it's really gonna look amazing. And then he started cleaning up his distributor, which we still need to replace the points and condenser cap and rotor on, because of course they were in a fire, so we don't trust those. And yeah, so some good little progress there. This thing's really starting to look like a complete motor. Once the distributor goes in and pulley and stuff like that, it's going to be about done. The engine anyways. We still have to put some windows in it and a few other things like that. But yeah, this car is moving along. And anyway, so I think that is it for today, guys. Appreciate you watching. And for those of you that like our content who haven't done so yet, please go ahead and subscribe to us, and we'll try and keep the content coming. So thanks for watching. Bye.